Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys, and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in this episode of World of Tanks, and we're back with Blues Traveler from Clan XCal and his ELC Even 90. Watch this. This bush I was not aware of. I know I've been shot from it, but I never really investigated where the heck it was. It seems like kind of a meh place to go, especially when the hill is so important on this map, relatively, but check this out. This is why you get hit when you cross over here. Oh, there's an ELC. Let's see if we can shoot him. He's going to let him go. Oh, boom. There he goes. Backs out. Oh, didn't get lit. Can you believe it? Why? Because ELC Even 90 moved away from the bush just enough to double bush. He actually double bushed himself. Look at that little snap-a-lap-a-ding-dong. That's where I was talking about right there. If you're a relatively slow tank, you're probably going to get hit by somebody sitting here. In the higher tiers, you'll see like Object 130s and other mediums get right here and punish you. Sometimes there's two of them sitting in this little area right here. So Blues Traveler sent me this, and he said, hey, need some advice on the ELC Even 90. Here's a bad game. Here's a good game. He gave me a couple bad, I think one bad game, a couple good games. So I looked at both of them, and it was very interesting, actually. I thought he did a nice job of how he moved around with the tank. Probably not the tank to go up on the hill and try to help take the hill. I think it's a later tank. Excuse me, a later tank for the hill. Let's say the hill starts to get beat up, and you can come in there and do some of your assassination action with this thing. This is a lot like the Manticore as far as you want to stay away, and really all the Brit lights. You want to stay away from frontal engagements, right? Engagements where there's a lot of guns, engagements where you don't have a way to get away. It really is a hit and run master, this little thing. And it is also a passive scouting master. Unfortunately, maps like this one in particular, in city maps and things, you're more of the hit and run vice the passive scout. Now there is some scouting capability here, not a whole bunch, but some. So he's going to react over this way. I think maybe had you gone help the hill, it might have been a better idea. You're really kind of coming over here and taking on some heavies and tier 9 mediums in the Object 430. Sorry, tier 10 medium. I don't know. This is kind of a difficult place for this tank to work. The T10's in big trouble. He's about to get pushed by 3 heavies over there. Your team is losing on the hill. They lost a good tank. You're down your Object 430. So we'll come over here and look to get some shots. Now we're taking on a TS5. I like that you tried to track him here. Eventually. So he's taking on this poor object, and we don't get the track. There we get the track. Someone tracked him. I don't know if it was you. Looks like it was you. Track destroyed. He gets thumped. We've taken 2 shots, and we're going to reload, and all of a sudden now we're being engaged by a 50 TP. This is going poorly, right? So you sent this to me and said, hey, how could I do better? I'm like, man, I'm going to tell you what. This game was going to be hard to do anything with. Little slide, little power slide. Waiting for the reload. We're going to come in here. Oh, the guy's looking at us. We don't want to do that. Maybe he'll look somewhere else. There we go. See his turret moves away. And here he comes. We've got Blues Traveler. Thumps him. All right. One thing I will say about this. What I do in these situations is, you know, if you get an angle shot, it's going to suck, and you're auto-aimed anyway. Coming around the back would have been better here. Maybe potentially aiming manually. It depends on how good you are at all that stuff. But where you shot was an angle like that. And at least wait till it's square on to maximize your capability. And then the third shot I would have put into the direct side over here, which I think you do. You're not really looking at it. There you go. And it was directly on the side. So you know what I'm saying? That second one was just a little bit rushed. I would have planned for one side, the rear, the other side. Easily said. More difficult to do. Oh, geez. Now there's a proto power slide. Get out of there. And he's doing his level best at this point. And this is kind of what you've got to do with this tank, especially in bad situations like this where it's chaos. You want to just be that mobile assassin. He comes back and surprises this guy, who's not that surprised. He thumps him. Second one's not quite ready. Takes the second one into the side. So that whole planning side, back, side sort of depends on how fast your pass is, right? If you take that shot in the side, you may be around the other side of him. The way you do that, if you have the chance, is to be a little bit further away, so the time is less to go around to the back, or time is more, sorry. This other ELC decides to come in there and take him on. He rams him and gets him dead. Really nicely done. That is something to think about with 2 guys miss him. That is something to think about with light tanks. When another light tank charges you and he's got a lot less hit points, he's at that kind of ramming damage. clip him, take him out. You're going to lose some, but you're going to win that fight. This is another thing about these tiny tanks. That's the X factor that people disregard quite a bit. And it looks like maybe a comeback is in session here. Let's see if it actually happens. They're not in good shape map-wise or guns-wise. But the X factor with these smaller tanks is that they're very difficult mechanically to hit. I've got to replay with Beanhole, with the Mana Quartz, the same thing with all the British light tanks minus the Senlac, which is pretty large, standard light tank size. Most light tanks are hard to hit anyway. They're generally smaller. But these little tiny ones, these little tiny assassin passive tanks are very, very difficult to hit. And you're going to get away with some of that stuff. I wouldn't always plan on that saving, maybe, but it does help. So we're going to come right into the front. See, if you'd have just saved it for the side, I think you'd have had this guy. Oh, that was actually the back. Never mind. Never mind. Nice job. That does not work out for us at all. And unfortunately, we're reloading one shell. I don't know if you noticed that. That is, ooh, and he misses. And then is the proto going to hit us? Ah, no. No. Oh, the proto bounced. The proto bounced. Take that luck. We've just reloaded one shell. You got to... That one's hard, man. That happens to me on occasion. You got to try to, in the fray, realize where your reload is. I think you would really rather have 3 gold rounds. We're going to come up around here. We're not really going to get a shot on him because he kind of snaps. Oh, we do get a shot, but it doesn't matter because he killed us. We wouldn't have got our second and third shot off going in there for the reset. So, really, I don't have a whole bunch for it. I talked a little bit about the assassination attempt right there. Maybe the hill was a better idea. I thought maybe a little bit passive early. You did get that early damage on the other ELC. You did get the shot on the Suma. Maybe follow up and go up the hill and attempt to help your guys win the hill right there, as opposed to kind of floating around in the middle. I know you're going over to try to help what was going on with the T10 over there. Turns out he was actually fine. Like, he's still alive, actually, for the most part. Of course, a lot of that had to do with you going over there and harassing the snot out of that poor 257? Is that what it was? An object? Yeah, the poor object 257 right there. So it's not one of those definitive things. I think maybe the hill and helping them out would have been a better bet as your second play. But as it was, the way you played the tank, I thought was great for the most part, minus the forgetting that you only had one shell right there, which at the end of the day didn't matter because you got killed after you fired the first one. Would have never had a chance for the second one. Let's look at a better game, though. Because what I liked about these two is I saw basically the same efforts in both, in a loss and in a win. Okay, second game, and this time we are on whatever this is called, Erlenberg, and we've kind of come over here to the east side and we're raging around in the open, which I thought was an interesting choice, and that's why, because you really are exposed to guys over in this edge. I don't know if I would go here, but it worked out. You got a light, but now we're really exposing ourselves on this hill. I don't know. This thing's got good camo, but wow. All it would take is one light from there is just making a little zing across a little ridge crossing right there, and we'd get seen. Looks like their LT-432 took some hits, and you spot the T-34. Is that down? Yep, that's down there. Amazing you don't get spotted, though. That's the thing about these tiny little stealthy light tanks that can do things like this. I like this idea. It's just that you can get proxy lit so easily. And holy cow, there's a mutz. And we're highlighted, and I don't know how we didn't get lit, but we did right there. It took a while, I guess, for the 6 cents to go off when we get out. I think I would have run away immediately once I saw them. Excuse me, rather than trying to hide. But holy cow, we're at 1,233 spotting, and this is a lot like his gameplay on the game before where they lost, in that he continually moving around, looking for spots. Being that annoying guy. I like his power break usage. He's really on top of that. Getting himself turned around. You'll notice what he did there is he power braked to keep the building between him and that guy. That was really, really nicely done. Now we're going to come back over here and we're going to start working this. This is fairly unusual in that there's a pretty decent push by his team over here. I mean, they're not pushing into the tanks, but there are a couple mediums sitting over here. Fairly unusual that they've gone this far forward. Look at all these misses. This is just the thing this tank does. Now the problem is, if one of those connects, then used up a bunch of your options just like that. So we're going to come up over top. Is he going to try to get in the bush? He got to the bush. Holy cow. Holy cow, got into the bush. So what? Have we lit anybody up over here? No, we got... Oh, these guys, are they running? Looks like a couple of them down below. There's the T-44-100, and he does appear to be running, but there's a lot of guys on this hill. There he goes. So he's gone around behind. There's still going to be somebody, I think, up in the trees up there. No binoculars, so he's going to have a hard time burning through unless somehow they fire. We're going to shoot. Oh, my goodness. And we didn't get lit. Look at that. So whatever's there has left or is far enough back that they can't see him. There's a Scorpion G. Oh, that's very unfortunate for Mr. Scorpion G. He's been seen. You've been made, dude. Oh, gee, there he goes. All right. Great lesson for you light tank players right there. There's one other tank up there that he can't see, but what he did there is made sure that a near dead was taken off the board and then moved. So passive is a good skill to have. It's important. And a lot of people say things like never shoot, but I often do that when I get down to a guy who's a near dead and I can take him off the board. I'll take that risk, shoot him, and get moving. So the last thing you want to do is leave that Scorpion alive in that case. Sometimes you can't. If you know there's 3 or 4 tanks staring at you and you know it's a death move, obviously you don't want to do a death move. You got to take the risk into account. Look at this, the 44-100 is he's had it. He's had enough of Blues Traveler. All right, second thing. So kill near dead. Second thing, baiting people. You just saw it. Really nice job. Just baiting people with very annoying light tanks. They know they're getting waxed by the light tank. They know their only hope is to go after them. It's a low percentage play for that player. And if you play it right as the light tank player, you can come away from it unscathed. So it's not an irrational move by the enemy tank. It's all they had. And he does a really nice job. We're going to come around the side. All right. Here's what I was talking about earlier, where you're doing a nice job kind of keeping on his side and right into the back there, but someone else killed him. Really nicely done. Another thing that's impressive about what you're doing here is you'll note that he hasn't dipped into his gold. He hasn't even bothered with it. Just raging around, looking for side shots, looking for the appropriate shot. Now, I wonder, do you have any shots on these guys? It's one thing you don't do that I've noticed is you don't investigate too much of the stuff that's going on around you sometimes, further away. But I guess that's not a bad idea. Anyway, he's not even reloaded, so that's actually not a problem at all. We get someone lit. Looks like, there we go. So the 40-43 is dead. Nicely done. There's nobody in that corner. 2 guys in the middle. That leaves a Scorpion G. Looks like you're looking maybe for the Scorpion G. The Udez is there. Scorpion G is way down in the corner. 2 mediums in the middle, and it's just clean up. What the? I was looking at the wrong corner. He was actually behind him. That's pretty funny. Oh, we missed 2 shots coming in there, but probably because you knew there's so many guns, you might as well take them. I would agree with that 100%. Just take the risk. And down they go. So we've got 1,536, 3,900 assists, a very active ELC. I think both games showed essentially the same skills and gameplay. To me, there is essentially no difference between the two and what you did, which was all pretty good gameplay, and it was team-based. You know, on the one side you had a good team, on the other side, on this side you had a good team, on the other game your team lacked a little bit in ability. The other thing that can be said about this particular map, though, that matches the ELC is you had a lot more room to maneuver on this map, right? This whole flank you kind of owned with all your maneuver in your little ELC. Really nicely done. Very much more difficult to do on the map before because it's a lot more canalized. Okay, as the Army says it, channelized, canalized. So I thought they were both nicely done. I had just little tidbits for you on either one of those. Keep up the good work on that. I appreciate you sending those 2 in. That was a lot of fun. I think it was very instructive, especially for people who are trying to learn the Brit and this particular little light tank, the little maneuverable tanks. A lot of really good things here on how to light tank actively. That's all I've got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your support. If you learned something or like what you saw, go ahead and throw me a subscribe. If you're looking for other ways to support the channel, they're down there in the description. That is all I've got for today. We will see ya.